Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Cafe Talk. Today we're doing community talk about, well, there's been a bit of news today, hasn't there? It's fair to
Just
say.
a little.
Obviously, earlier on, me and Robbie had a long talk about it. I had a nice little rant. But today we're getting a bit of a different perspective on it. I'm joined by my friend Elliot. I've known him for 10 years. He is a Chelsea fan.
Sorry,
Pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me. It's an honour.
So firstly, where do we even start with this? I don't know about you, but I just still feel really shocked about what's happened. I still can't quite believe that this Premier League or this league that's been in place for decades, centuries. Man United have been in place since 1878. You know, we started from working class railway workers. You know, same with Arsenal, Liverpool, obviously Chelsea as well. So your club, Chelsea. Interestingly, obviously, if this was done 20 years ago, Chelsea would not have got in.
We wouldn't have been there. Yeah, no.
So, how do you feel about the fact your club is involved in this?
I've tweeted about it a couple of times, but it's just disgusting. It's like I'm ashamed to be a part of it. Like it just really takes you out of it. Like it's just an obvious money grabbing move, and it just shows that they really couldn't care less about us. Like it's ridiculous. I mean, they've realised with the state of the game in the last year that they can make money, loads of money in football without the fans. Like they don't need fans in stadium. They don't need people buying kits. They can just, as long as they've got the casual viewers that will buy memberships on Amazon Prime or whatever next season, they're fine. They'll make billions.
Yeah. Do you think that's a big issue, that the pandemic's kind of shown that they can survive without? Because what we thought football was before was, we thought fans were the core. We thought going to a match or just supporting your team was the core of it. But do you think now that even if there wasn't fans for the rest of eternity, do you think I personally think they would still just do this because they don't care about fans going to games anymore, do they?
No, they don't care for the actual fans. As long as they have a casual fan base, just people who want to watch, people who like flick on the TV. Because say Amazon get the rights next season, I've got Amazon Prime as a student, and so whenever they have a game, I'll just flick it on. If you're just at home bored of shit and it's AC Milan versus Real Madrid, I might as well flick it on. Like, as long as they have that fan base that's paying like a subscription each month, and they're fine. They'll make loads.
Well, you spoke about it before, like when we spoke privately, about you think the subscription model's kind of a bit of not a con, but it's clever, isn't it? Because like you said, you pay a really small amount, and it just lures you in, and it entices you not to cancel it. Obviously, we've seen it with Netflix, Amazon, like Disney Plus recently. Do you think when this does happen, we might see that kind of subscription model?
Yeah. I feel like this is definitely looking like an Amazon-esque, like, because their system where you can just pick whatever game's on, and it's only like £5 a month for students, or whatever, and like £10 a month for anyone else. Like, it seems cheap, but over the whole year, what's that? It's like, if it's £10 a month, what, 120 quid? It's still a lot. And if every person pays 120 quid, well, they could change to a model where it's just pay-per-view, but like a really smaller match. So say you want to watch a game, it's like 3 quid. Like you still got, with all the people watching it, it's loads still.
It's still £3 a time, and we've got a comment here. Luke, I agree. I fully agree. Like, there needs to be some kind of action now from all of us. I think, I'm sure you feel the same, Elliot. It's kind of just we're watching our clubs that we love and have put so much emotion into, completely go down the drain. And I mean, personally, I think I don't know what's going on with this, but I might go to a protest or something. But I mean, we saw tonight kind of Leeds and Liverpool fans kind of congregating outside. I mean, do you think, the one positive out of all of this shambles we've seen is that football fans supporting different teams might actually come together a bit more now?
Yeah, it's good seeing everyone come together. We need like big protests, like if it goes ahead, don't do it to matches. We really, people do the thing every year, like, oh, I don't like Kroenke, I'm not going to buy Arsenal kits, whatever. We need to actually do it. And the only thing I do worry about is that they can still pretty much do this without us. So no matter what we do, I do have in the back of my head think it's not going to make a difference at the end of the day.
That's the problem, isn't it? It's they've got us in the perfect position for them because they know how much this sport means to us. They know how much this country values football as a sport. You know, we all love it. It's an escape. It's something we all talk about at the pub. I mean, do you remember last year when we just went to the pub and watched Man City Leon in the Champions League, and Leon knocked Man City out, and it was really funny and really entertaining. But that's what the Champions League should be, shouldn't it?
It should be. It was a surprise. We were like, wow, how the fuck have Leon managed that?
It should be a fair competition. It shouldn't be a closed group. And I mean, linking it to Chelsea, obviously, the best achievement in your club's history, I think we can agree, is 2012.
Oh, yeah, winning the Champions League. 100, hands down.
Do you know, like, the irony about your Champions League win was the years before that, Chelsea were kind of seen as like the elite club, but that's the one year you were the underdogs. Really.
Yeah, the one year we weren't. That was before. What was it? This 2014, where Mourinho was 14th when he got sacked. Before that was our worst season in 10 years since we were founded in 2003, and you know we finished 6th in the league, and then we had to sack Villas Boas. Then Di Matteo came in, and we played. I'm going to be honest, the most disgusting football ever. 11 players behind the ball, and then just Drogba would make a run, and we just boink it up to him. You know, just kick it long, and then because Drogba was amazing in the air, he'd outmuscle the defenders, and we just get a cheeky 1-0 and shit like that. Like, it was disgusting football, and we shouldn't have won the. Well, I'm not going to say we shouldn't have won the Champions League, but you know, under the Super League things, we shouldn't have been there, and we shouldn't have won it.
Yeah, of course, and I think the problem with this is you're turning a predominantly knockout tournament into a league. Now, with knockout tournaments, we see stuff like you beating like probably the best footballing side of all time in Barcelona. We see stuff like Leon beating Man City. I mean, Jose Mourinho was sacked today. Jose Mourinho wouldn't exist as an entity in this Super League because Porto won the Champions League in 2004 by coming up to Old Trafford and just knocking us out in the last minute. I mean, it was a disgrace refereeing-wise, but I'm not going down that route. But, you know, it's the thing, like, Mourinho was established as an entity and as a manager through
the Champions League. Yeah, what was it? He won the Europa League with Porto, and then season later won the Champions League with Porto. He wouldn't be anything without the current European competition. Yeah, and just the point is that you said it yourself. It's a knockout tournament. That's what's exciting. You know, you could be knocked out. You could go through. Like in this, it's just going to be like, oh no, we lost against AC Milan. Oh well, we're still going to get 300 billion a year. Who cares?
Exactly. There's no consequence anymore, is it? I mean, you mentioned that season you had with Mourinho where, you know, he was 14th or something when he left. But the funny thing about that season was there was a point where you were all kind of going, "Oh God, like we could go down here," you know?
Oh yeah, there was definitely.
And you
I can't remember who we lost to. It was like Stoke or something. And there was a point where we were like, "Wow, these are how how's that happened?"
Yeah.
And then he got sacked. We brought in majestic Gus Hiddink. And he managed to save our season by finishing 10th, which was still below Stoke. They finished 9th. And then we have the cheek to go and say, "Oh, we're a huge team. We have to be guaranteed income." Wow. So when we can finish below the likes of Stoke, fuck off.
So do you think that Chelsea don't have? Obviously, you're a Chelsea fan. Do you think Chelsea don't have the right to do this? Basically,
I don't think. I'm going to be honest. I don't think half the teams have a right. Because what have we got? Let's go by modern footballing history. You know, Chelsea and Man City have mainly, as powerhouses, haven't been around for that long. Okay, Arsenal, Spurs, barely. Well, Arsenal haven't won a league since 2003. Never won the Champions League. Spurs never win anything. Have never won the Champions League. AC Milan haven't won something since like 2010. Inter Milan haven't won the league since 2010. Juventus are about to not even qualify for the Champions League. Atletico Madrid barely ever do anything. Like, so what's that? That's like 7 of the teams.
Yeah.
So that's over half of it.
Yeah.
Don't deserve to be there.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? And it's the funny thing that a lot of people have pointed out. We're calling this a Super League. Arsenal in a Super League.
Oh fuck me! Yeah, they barely beat Fulham. They didn't even beat Fulham. They drew with Fulham. They barely drew with Fulham, and they celebrated that they won the fucking Super League.
Yeah, exactly. And it just makes you think, kind of. Well, that's why they're doing it, isn't it? It's clever for them because they go from being this 10th place team they're going nowhere fast, if we're being honest, and they go from that to being guaranteed at the top table. But I mean, in relation to
billions and billions, yeah.
I mean, it's awful for you guys, obviously, because obviously everyone knows Chelsea were struggling, but then Tuchel's come in and they are in the Champions League semi-final for the first time since 2014. They're in the FA Cup final. These are two really big moments. How did you feel, right, after you'd beaten City in the semi-final on Saturday, and this was like euphoric, massive win, right? How did you feel on Sunday about 5 o'clock hearing actually Chelsea are breaking from the English football pyramid?
At the time, I can understand why we didn't wait a month. Because if we wait a month, we play out the competitions. There's a month and a half left of the footballing calendar left. We play out that, see how it goes, and then you go, oh, by the way, in August, lads, we're creating a new tournament. Do it after you. Why are we doing it halfway? Well, not halfway through the season, but when the season's not even finished, it's ridiculous. Especially for us. Well, I mean, the FA Cup isn't that special because we've made the final last 4 years or whatever.
But it's still.
But the Champions League, that hasn't happened in 7 years, and it rarely happened since the 2000s. Like, that's massive. I was so happy, even though we're just beating. I know it's just Porto, but I was ecstatic. And then yesterday, finding out we're probably not even going to get the chance to even play a game in the semi-finals. It's ridiculous. Disgusting.
It's awful, isn't it? Because all that kind of emotion you went through as a fan, like beating Atletico, and even from the start, when Frank came in and he qualified for the Champions League. That alone last year, Manchester United and Chelsea getting the Champions League last season, it felt big. Do you remember on the last day, like you beat Wolves and we beat Leicester?
Yeah.
And it was like, shit, we're in the Champions League. And do you know why the Champions League is a good thing? It's because we went into the Champions League. And I know this sounds a bit weird coming from me, but even though we're Man United, we lost to Istanbul Basaksehir. I hate that happened. It haunts me. But that's what competition should be in a sport. They're 17th in Turkey, right? But we lost them because a sport is a meritocracy. That's how it works. Like, you look throughout the history of this sport and you've got people like Brian Clough promoting teams from the second division and winning the European Cup. You've got, we lost in our Munich air disaster. We lost our whole team. 10 years later, we win the European Cup. It's underdog stories. And more recently, it's Leicester. Leicester City team winning the league. And do you know why, though, that the reason why this is so important to these big six is because in recent years, we've seen Chelsea, Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool even, for the first time in a pretty long time, not being in the competition, not being at the top table. And they don't like it, do they? It's like it's a shock to their system.
Yeah, literally. Well, I feel like the main reasoning behind this is because, as I've said already, the majority of these teams are declining, if anything. I know I'm on a United podcast and anything, but like the last couple of years, you haven't been fantastic. When was the last time you won a trophy? Like 2018 or something? 17, 18?
2017.
Yeah, literally. So what, 4 years you've gone on that trophy. That's probably why the Glazers are sat there going, where's our bonuses, lads? How can I take money out of the club if you're not bringing in absolute billions from winning things? We get the odd trophy, but we haven't won something big like the Premier League since 16. Obviously City, I feel like City have just been invited because they're the big team at the moment. Spurs and Arsenal just want to be in it because they never win anything.
Yeah.
I think same with AC Milan and Inter Milan, they never win anything anymore. That's why they want to be in it.
Do you know the awful thing about Inter Milan is they're on course to win their first title in 11 years, and it's probably going to get taken away because they've gone and done this. All that planning and effort by the players,
Yeah, it's odd. I'm thinking about it with all the money they make. I really feel bad for those players, especially if they start banning them from competitions, like international competitions. It's because they haven't done anything. They haven't made this decision. Like, they've just played. They're trying to do the best they can. Like, I can't imagine how like the Chelsea dressing room is going to feel when we've done all of this after being so shit at the beginning of the season. Like, how are you going to feel if you're Mason Mount? You've dragged this team to a FA Cup final and the Champions League semi-final, and then they've gone, oh, by the way, Roman's decided he needs an extra couple billion a year. So we're not going to win this. Sorry, lads.
That's
but
exactly
you get to play AC Milan 5 times next season. How exciting!
Yeah, I mean, it must be such it's a hard sell to the players. I mean, even like, because I think so. From my understanding on what went on with United today was Ed Woodward sat down the management and the players. Because by the way, it's emerged today that basically Ollie didn't know what was going on at all, and then at the end of the game finished, and they asked Ollie, "So you're awful," and he went, so our owners are complete cowards. Our chairman is a complete coward because they just threw him under the bus. No accountability. And it just, so in relation to the players, what do you think they can do? Do you think, I mean, we've seen someone like Marcus Rashford have such a big impact on the world as a whole. Do you think it's down to the players now to do something? Do you think they can do anything?
I think, well, the biggest thing they could do is say Chelsea playing Brighton tomorrow night. We walk out onto the pitch, and either the Chelsea team or the Brighton team just sit down. Just sit down in the middle of the pitch. Don't play the game. Just sit there, have a chat. You know, just don't play. Don't, or you know, I don't know. Mount turns around, kicks into our own net, sort of thing. You know, we need to just. They need to say that if this is happening, I'm either not going to stay or I'm not going to play.
Yeah, because the thing is as well is, you know, I think the people who've formed the Super League think, I think that they think we're all going to be outraged for a couple of days and then we'll accept it.
Oh,
they've underestimated the fact that we're not accepting it. I think because they don't know much about football, most of these people, Avram Glazer, Malcolm, I don't know which one it was, one of the awful beings that run our club, he didn't know the offside rule. He said he doesn't know the offside rule, and he's the one bringing the club down. And it's the problem, isn't it, for the players? You're in kind of a catch-22 because you're like, well, I need to protest against this, but I'm legally contracted to play for this club. But then linking it to something really big that came out today, which is terrifying as well. So not many people are really speaking about this because it's kind of gone under the radar a bit. The international thing. So as it stands, the talk is that players from teams who are taking part in the Super League would be banned from international tournaments. Now, bearing in mind the Euros is in about a month and a half time. How crazy is that? That's
insane.
Do you think
it's all the England players apart from like Jesse Lingard, the players that play in Germany, so like Sancho, even Trippier won't be there. You got Declan Rice, Calvin Phillips. You've got the bench players left, and then you're gonna have to call up the likes of like Sam Vokes and stuff.
Get the Burnley lads in.
It's just ridiculous. Like, it's gonna completely ruin that tournament because if it happens, that's all the best players not playing in that tournament. So it just degrades everything because the Super League won't be that good because you haven't got loads of players. You've got 12 teams. If you think about it, 12 teams isn't even that much. Like, there's 20 teams in the Premier League, and half the time I feel like, we're playing Brighton again. I feel like we only just played Brighton. Yeah. You know, and that's for 20. We're losing nearly half the teams. And what they're going to split into 2 leagues of 6, they've already said, or whatever, 2 tables of 6. So that's going to be even more boring. Like, just playing the same 5 teams, like 3 or 4 times in this for half a season, and then having a stupid playoff at the end.
It's on a complete loop, and I think the problem is, for me, it's just such an incredible act of selfishness, and they don't seem bothered.
Yeah,
like Abramovich, the Glazers, Kroenke, FSG, I guess Daniel Levy. I don't know. I think he's involved, isn't he? All of those owners have basically put a hammer blow through football, through a sport that so many people have relied on for their mental health, I guess. So especially over the pandemic, it's nice escape. And they've also ruined the football pyramid, and they've also ruined international tournaments as a result of this. Why? do you think theoretically, this is a bit of a weird question, but theoretically, if you could go back in time, would you make Abramovich not happen now and then not have your success, or knowing what's coming, or would you stay down the
Nah,
same?
you'd still let him in, but you would have. I just feel like they should have, because I mean, let's be honest, football's been pretty corrupt for a while now. Like UEFA are trying to stop all this happening, but let's be honest, it's one of the most corrupt competitions. Like you watch a Real Madrid game and the refereeing in it is always abysmal. So like it just needed a system implementing where it was like an outside, like an independent organization is what's like ruling over it and deciding what can or can't happen. Rather than it just being controlled by 10 people on a board. I think it's ridiculous that the owners of a team can be chairmen of boards for leagues and stuff. How does that?
Yeah,
That's
I know.
surely that just opens the door for corruptness.
Yeah, it's a
Like
bit of a
how on
conflict
earth?
of interest, isn't it?
So I didn't even realize. I'm going to be honest. I didn't even realize that. What's his name? The Juventus owner was the chairman of UEFA or whatever it was. Like, how does that occur?
I know.
Who decided that was a good idea? It's ridiculous. But they've just leveled down. I mean, if it goes ahead, it levels down everything because the players can't compete in the internationals, so internationals become so much worse. The Premier League loses. I mean, like its top 3 teams and another 3 bigger teams. Like, so they're losing, quite a lot for their high quality. The same with Spain, Italy. It's ridiculous. Like, it just degrades everything.
Yeah,
and then and then just another point, because they're getting all this, therefore, I can't remember the exact fee, but they said they were getting 300 million or whatever just from the deal, like straight off the bat without even doing anything. Well, that just gives you 300 million to go and spend on getting the best players. So that's taking the good players out of what we've left the rest of the footballing world. It just completely destroys everything.
Do you know what they didn't like? This is one compliment I'll give to the Premier League. In recent years, the TV rights money has gone up more, so the wealth is distributed more across the league. Hence why a team like Leicester or a team like West Ham or Wolves, loads of different teams actually have pretty good sides with pretty good players, which has kind of put them up the league a bit because of the distribution. They don't like this because it obviously it challenges their dominance. Now, in Spain, the TV rights money is basically split between Barcelona and Real Madrid. I don't know what's going to happen with that league at all. I mean, because like Barcelona and Real Madrid in Spain, and they've got less of a football pyramid than us.
Yeah,
at least if this does
because they've got in their second league, they've got stuff like this Real Madrid second team and Barca
the B team. Yeah. Whereas we've got 92 teams.
Yeah, and that's just in the top 4 professional leagues. You got to think beneath that, there's at least like 10 more still like not too bad leagues,
Yeah, it goes down endlessly. I mean, I've decided I'd rather we had this than this Super League. One proposal or punishment, I should say, was the idea of if the Premier League teams go away to the Super League, don't like it and want to come back, they have to start in the 5th tier.
Oh yeah, definitely. Even lower.
Yeah, just from the bottom. I mean, I would rather see United play non-league football than see us play the Super League football.
Super League, yeah, definitely.
Because non-league football is pretty good in this country in the sense I know it's cliche, but it's grassroots.
It's entertaining.
It's where the people are, in it. It's the foundation of football in the society. And, United over the years, it has got, it's obviously things have got worse. And I think I've always been aware it's going on. I've been quite vocal about the fact it's going on. But I think even I was quite ignorant about the scale of what was actually going on before our eyes. Because I don't know about you, but with this Super League, until yesterday, I just kind of thought, yeah, they're going to talk about it, but is it really going to happen? Something has to happen. Did you think that as well?
Yeah, I was like, there's no chance it goes ahead, lads. Like, with all the other teams, you can't just leave them all behind. But the audacity. The thing is that I think the problem is that I mean, this is going to sound really Brexit, but they're all from other countries, so they couldn't care less about the British history behind each club. You know, like,
No,
as
true.
if
Yeah.
Abramovich cares that we won, a league back in the 50s. Like, he won't. He couldn't care less.
Yeah, they don't care. They see it as a little plaything and a dangerous kind of prospect. I mean, this is kind of hypothetical. I mean, you're saying about them not caring.
Hmm.
If Manchester United become a franchise, as like in this kind of Super League, what's stopping the Glazers from moving us to New York?
Yeah, no, it's true.
There's
It's like
nothing because they own the league.
It's like you have the it's just gonna end up like basketball, where this is gonna sound really cliche, but it's like the Harlem Globetrotters. They didn't play where they're from for like the first 10 years they were a thing, or whatever.
Mm.
It's gonna be like that. It's just gonna turn into a friendly tournament where we're just playing. 1 week we're off to Asia to play in front of a packed stadium out there. Like, what's the point?
Mm. That's it. What is the point? And like, what's going to happen as well is, I think people will boycott it at first, but I just worry that we're going to get to the breaking point. I mean, I've been thinking about this a lot today. I've been thinking, if this all does go ahead as it looks like it will, the worst case scenario, I've been thinking, could I stop supporting United? And the truth is, I just don't think I could, because I couldn't support another team. I could follow a non-league team because in Manchester we've got FC United of Manchester. They were founded in 2005 as a breakaway club against the Glazer ownership.
Oh, okay.
So the people who went and did that then, I mean, they've been proved right massively, because look where we are now. But I don't, even like Salford and stuff, I just don't think I could do it. You've got to think, we've put so much kind of emotional investment into it. Obviously, with the Champions League win, and obviously you've won since I've known you, you've won a hell of a lot of leagues, and just like, the memories you have, like, it's hard to just take all those memories and just kind of go, it's like a divorce, isn't it?
Yeah, literally. You got to think, how many games Man United games have you missed in the last 10 years?
Not a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I could probably count on two hands the amount of Chelsea games I've missed where I've had the chance to actually see it. I don't. What do you do? Like, that's so much time, so much, like the amount of merch I own. Like, because I was born in Bournemouth. I have a couple of Bournemouth shirts. I don't want to go support Bournemouth.
No.
I love that their kit looks nice. I like some of the players. I like Eddie Howe. I don't want to go support them.
No, that's the thing, isn't it? You can't, like, it's not in anything in life. It's very hard to detach yourself from something you've been doing like most of your life. And it's not, I was thinking about this earlier, it's not just watching a game for 90 minutes. It's stuff like just scrolling through Twitter and reading about it, or reading articles about it, or watching YouTube videos about it, or even like video games in relation to it. It's all centered around football. Like, it just is. And all of that going, and it's a double whammy, because, I was thinking, oh, if United goes, it's going to be like unbearable. But I mean, at least England wouldn't be a thing. It would be everything just gone. And like, I don't know what we're meant to do. I mean, I think, I'm going to go to a protest on Saturday, and I hope, a lot of people turn out. But my honest belief is that I just don't think it will change them, because David Beckham wore an anti-Glazer green and gold scarf in 2009, right? David Beckham is like the most famous person.
About as big as you get in football, yeah. And about as big as you get for start, pretty
much. Yeah. Everyone knows who he is, right? He wore a green and gold scarf against the owners. There was mass protests. Nothing changed. If the most influential person, one of the most influential people in the world, can't do anything, it's. But I want to change the subject a bit, because today there's been talk about Boris Johnson and the current government doing this kind of fans greater say thing. Now, I just want to cast your eye back to 2019.
I knew this was gonna.
So I've just got the Labour manifesto here, and And it says, it's our time to give fans a greater say in how their clubs are run. It's our time to enable supporters' trust to buy shares when clubs change hands. It's our time to put 5% of Premier League TV money into grassroots football. It's our time to crack down on inflated ticket price. It's our time to guarantee a living wage of at least £10 an hour for all club staff. It's our time for safe standing at football grounds. Now, when this idea was posed in 2019, people just thought it was absurd, because the reason this idea kind of came to prominence was because Jeremy Corbyn had attacked kind of the billionaires and Boris Johnson had defended the billionaires.
Mike Ashley as well, wasn't it? Mainly.
Mike Ashley, yeah. And obviously Newcastle fans have been through an absolutely awful time with Mike Ashley.
Yeah, he's sucked the blood out of that team. Jesus Christ. I mean,
It's
watching them play
dreadful.
they are just diabolical.
They're terrible. So this idea was put forward by Labour in 2019 to give, it's like the German model, 50+1 or on decisions. Now, this is being touted again now, and everyone seems to think that it's a good idea now.
Yeah, it's an amazing idea.
Do you think, do you think the government will actually do this?
I think they will, but I think by the time, like, things like this, they can't just be done overnight. Like, this is going to take ages to implement. Like, it's not going to be done in time, or by the time it is, the damage will be too great, sort of thing. I think it's a great idea. Obviously, it works in Germany. German football, as much as people call it a farmers league and stuff, half the Premier League players for the top clubs at the moment are coming from the Bundesliga. Everyone wants to sign Haaland. Everyone wants to sign Sancho. You know, because they're set up. So they're mainly controlled by fans. You got to think like Borussia Dortmund, their team at the moment. It's just amazing youth players. Like and that's all come from the fans deciding, you know, how the club should go forward, and that is how it should work here. But it's a little too little, too late, pretty much.
Yeah. See, that is why we're seeing the German teams not get involved, isn't it? Really, because they actually have fan ownership. Over the clubs, and to be honest, the idea to me of Boris Johnson just running in and getting the Glazers out, it just doesn't. They're his mates.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. He's gonna start doing it. You know, the Glazers are just gonna slip a cheeky couple mil to the government. You know, build yourself a wall, lads, and they're just gonna start doing it. Like,
well, we've seen,
if it was actually Labour in power, I reckon this would be done well quick. But I'm not. You know, I don't want to get really political, but it's the Tories, isn't it?
Well, exactly. People are now. I mean, I see that people are desperate for hope and change because they want to look somewhere, because we're all desperate. You need anything, you know. But the idea to me that a party that is so in favour of these kind of billionaires and oligarchs in this country turning around and saying, actually, you're losing the power over your football club, that sounds absolutely absurd to me. And I just can't see it. I would love it if that happened. It would be brilliant. And you know, Manchester United, Chelsea, and Arsenal wouldn't have got to this point. I think Manchester City, to be fair, have actually been pretty well run in recent years. The infrastructure, the way they've kind of handled their transfers has been quite good.
Yeah, they've done pretty well, to be fair.
But it's just so bizarre them being involved, isn't it? I mean, it's just, you know, I mean, so what? It's crazy, isn't it? Because so much has happened in one day.
Yeah, it's almost like too much to cover, isn't it? But I think the thing that really annoyed me was when Sky put out the statement saying that I know Chelsea and Man City didn't really want to join it, but you know, they didn't want to be left out. Like, you still joined it; it doesn't matter. Like, you know,
exactly. Still
you know,
complicit.
if 5 people committed a crime, you can be like, oh, well, two of them didn't really want to commit the crime, so don't arrest them. So they didn't really want to do it. Like, it's still, I'm, you know, as much as I love Chelsea, I want the Super League not to go ahead, but there still to be a punishment. Like, docked a major amount of points, fined millions, transfer ban all of us, and give the money that's taken to grassroots, give it to the non-league teams.
Yeah, that would be brilliant, wouldn't it? And if it would really put them in their place.
What's the clubs? The clubs that have collapsed in the last year. Give it to them.
Oh, Bury. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, that's the thing, isn't it? I think that's the brutality of this. Teams are going out of business. I mean, even in the Championship, teams are on the brink. Like Bolton have been struggling. Maybe they're in League One. But teams in the lower tiers are going out of business. When a global pandemic, for starters, I mean, that I can't stress that enough. Like,
yeah,
I know
literally worst possible time to do it, before the season's ended, in a global pandemic.
Yeah, in possibly like the worst time in human history. And like I was looking earlier through my phone and like some of my memories from games in general. And I was looking at that City game I went to, like with the McTominay goal. And I was like, that could literally be the last Premier League game I go to. And not because of the pandemic, as we originally thought.
Yeah.
Because the league's gone. The league! Like, how could they take away the league?
I mean, honestly. I just honestly think that if it goes ahead, half the players are just going to hightail it. They're just going to be off. Because, Bruno's already said we can't be bought. So he'll leave United. He won't want to play in the Super League. I doubt. I mean, Rashford, he's definitely not going to play. I can't see a player like any of Chelsea's youth players. All the players that haven't yet been bought by football. They'll off. They'll be off, and that's like half our team at the moment.
Yeah,
not to be mean, but like the Brazilian players, they always get you always see Brazilian players move to China and stuff. It's just going to end up as a bunch of Brazilian players playing in this. It's just going to end up. We're going to end up as a Chinese league team. I've just realised that it's going to end up like the Chinese league.
Yeah, it literally is, because it's kind of obviously it's not like a kind of, I don't know how to word this without sounding like I'm not being like discriminatory, but it's just a natural thing that if you're playing in England and you've not played in England long, like if you're a Cavani, say, you're not going to be as bothered about the collapse of English football as much as Marcus Rashford or Mason Mount would be.
Yeah,
I mean, directly in relate to Chelsea, obviously, because Thomas Tuchel didn't say much, to be honest. He was
he heavily sat on the fence.
Yeah, and I personally, obviously, everyone knows I really like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but for me, the time has come for him to stand up and be counted, like kind of like in the vein of like Gary Neville has, or even Jurgen Klopp. Saying you disagree with it a bit, because you can't have someone managing your football club who the reason I love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and always will, I guess it's kind of like you with Frank Lampard, is he's always got kind of the club. And then when it came into his management, I loved him at first because obviously he's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and then I started liking his management skills, and that's a long story. But you can't have someone whose mantra is about United DNA, which he references a lot, and then he doesn't stick up for the fans. He's got to do it. I mean, do you think if Frank Lampard was still at Chelsea, do you think we would have seen a more impassioned response from the club than Tuchel?
He always did really honest like press conferences. That's probably the one thing I really liked about him, is that in press conferences he just spoke his mind. He just said it. So I generally like Tuchel came out today and he just went, who am I to say? I just want to play in the biggest competitions. That's pretty much all he said. And then the guy who runs the press conference stopped anyone from asking any other European Super League questions for the rest of it, which was ridiculous, scummy. And but no, I think if Lampard was there, I mean, obviously we wouldn't be in half the competitions for him at the moment, but but he would have. I feel like he would have been like, "The hell is this?" Because he won the Champions League in 2012. First thing he said, he went to the camera and he said to his kids or whatever that he told them that Chelsea are the biggest club in the world. So why would he want? The first thing he does is go speak to his kids, go speak to the fans. Why on earth would he want a European Super League? It's like when we won the Champions League. You usually see, the Champions League, they stand up on the rafters and they all raise the trophy. When Chelsea won it, they all, you had like that iconic thing of Drogba ran away with it and was driving it like a car around where the fans were. That doesn't go on. Like all of those iconic moments are taken away with the fans. Like
of course, because if you look at it, so Frank Lampard and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they're the highlights of both of their careers are winning the Champions League. Ollie's goal in '99, and obviously Lampard's impact on that Chelsea team. I mean, him and Didier Drogba pretty much single-handedly dragged the standards up with players like Ryan Bertrand and.
We played Ryan Bertrand left mid in the Champions League final.
But it's the fact you were able to do that and win it.
Yeah,
like that's the thing. But yeah, just to finish off, obviously it's just all a bit traumatic. It's shocking. It's depressing. I can't believe we're currently having a conversation about the end of kind of football as we know it, the end of the league football.
Genuinely.
It is just really sad. What do you expect to happen now? I know it's hard to predict, but if you were to say what you think personally will happen in the next few days or few weeks, what do you think will happen?
I reckon in the next week they'll do the cup competitions first. So the FA Cup will go to Leicester, Champions League will go to PSG, and that'll be to try and put us off, show us that they're not kidding. And then a couple of weeks, if we're still standing by it, I reckon league they probably won't kick us out straight away, but they'll do like because Portsmouth, what were they when they lost like 20 points when they went bankrupt? So it'll be more than that. It'll be like 40 points will be docked from all of us, and there'll be fines obviously. And then if it still carries on, then obviously I do feel like if they have like illegal things where we can't get kicked out of the leagues, they'll just stop players from getting things because the players are vulnerable because they don't have special things in their contracts to stop them from having stuff. They basically have, you're in for this long, you're going to get paid this much, these are your bonuses, and this is how much it will cost if you want to get out of it. So they're just going to, at the end of the day, all they're going to do is, if they can't punish the club, they'll punish the players, so then the players will leave the club.
Yeah. So it is, I mean, that in that case, it is literally kind of an emptying of the soul of the clubs.
Yeah.
And like you said, you might see players like Mason Mount who, I think him and Rashford are kind of the best examples to use here because they both love their clubs so much.
Yeah, they're Chelsea and United through and through.
They're both with them from like such a young age. Obviously, that video of Mason Mount when he was a kid, and obviously, and like just like Marcus Rashford's existence in general, he's such a principled guy, and I just don't.
Yeah, there's no way he stays.
And I think there's no way he will put up with it because, his whole thing has been about helping poorer people out with food. Yeah. It's been an incredible thing. And he's probably he's gone, hang on, the club I play for, its owners have signed up to something that stops poorer fans basically going to games. Because I can't afford to go to Spain every week. I just can't. It's ridiculous.
You can't afford the weekly plane flight to Italy to play Juventus.
No, it's
I mean, I've just I realized this the other day. Like, who wants to watch? Because there's a talk about them doing like like series, so you play like a team like an odd number of times, like 3 times, 5 times, 7 times, and then whoever wins them, like they do in basketball, and in American sports in general. Who wants to watch, like Chelsea or United go away to Atletico 3 or 4 times a season, and where they will just park the bus, and it will end like 0-0. Like, who wants to watch that continuously?
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. It's just going to be. It's going to be so repetitive. Oh God, it's terrible, isn't it?
And to make it worse, Leeds have just missed a sitter.
Oh dear. That is a game where I think for once everyone actually wants Leeds to win, which is quite something because they're not the most liked club. But on that, it's hard to leave it on a positive note. I just say to everyone, like, go on protests, email your MPs.
Just got to use our voices. That's the only thing we could do.
Yeah, because it's in our hands now, and hopefully, some elite figures in society. I mean, a member of the royal family has spoken out against it. The government's against it. Pundits are against it. Ex-players against it. We've just got to hope that everyone comes together and actually properly speaks out, and we don't lose this game that we love. Because I just want to get back to worrying about whether United will draw with Burnley. I can't take the existence of football being on the line.
I want to know whether we'll lose 5-2 against West Brom again.
God, yeah. I mean So I'll just quickly touch on that. That is a prime example of why this is such a stupid idea.
We can't beat West Brom.
the reason why the Premier League is good though is because you lost to West Brom 5-2, and because we lost to Sheffield United. That's why that people watch this league. When people go, the Premier League's the best league in the world, it's not because they want to watch Arsenal in ninth. This is a misconception, isn't it, that people make? It's because they want to watch kind of Arsenal in ninth lose to so and so in 20th, or they want to see Leeds beat Man City, or they want to see West Brom beat Chelsea, Sheffield beat Manchester United. That's all gonna go. And they think
the whole
they're doing
point
the right
is
thing.
in the other leagues, it's good to see that I mean, they're great teams, but no one wants to watch. Well, you know, from other countries, no one wants to watch Juventus win it continuously, Bayern Munich win it continuously. There's always a different winner of the Premier League until recent years.
Yeah,
it's good. But
even in recent years, even though it's still been City, Liverpool, you know, United, Chelsea. I mean, we're just gonna lose the thing of turning the TV on and going, bloody hell, Liverpool 3 down to Villa. Aston Villa beat Liverpool 7-2 this season. 7-2. I mean, hang
and they
on.
have the audacity.
Why aren't Aston Villa in it? They've got European Cup. Why are they in it?
That expected the XG account or whatever it is. They tweeted if the top 6 teams by expected points this season were chosen, and instead of Arsenal and Spurs, it was West Ham and Brighton. So, you know, if we're going off of just this season, they should be going.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
100%. It's just mind blowing, and hopefully we'll find out more in the next few days. I mean, it's driving me up the wall, to be honest. I just can't believe what's going on. But everyone who's watched, thank you very much for watching. Obviously, thanks to Elliot for joining me. Give him a follow on Twitter.
Thanks.
His handle is there for you to see. We'll be back again soon to discuss this more. I think me and Robbie are going to do another news show. I might probably cry because I'm honestly, I'm just so angry about this. But you know, all of you, stay safe. Send some letters to your MPs. Let's get this turned around. Cheers.
Fuck the Super League.